Hey guys, it's Vandiazzo back again from Carfight Vanguard deck profiles. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also sorry. This time we're covering the final deck for DZ Set 7, and that would be Triumph Dragon. So Triumph Dragon got a few good support cards in this set, and it makes me feel like Triumph Dragon was genuinely supposed to get a restander, because one of our support cards specifies a restand ability, which we know the Grandpa Danger promo does, to where maybe, just maybe, Triumph Dragon and the other DZ Set star bosses will get upgrades, and maybe Triumph Dragon will get a restander, since it's the only one that actually can't multi-attack out of the DZ Set star bosses. So that's the start shot we see what we got, because honestly we did get some good support cards, and I want to show them off. First today we have our Energy Generator. It's our ride deck crest. You might have a ride deck crest in your ride deck. Auto ride deck, when you would ride, put this card into your crest zone, and if you win second energy charge 3, continue, so you may have 10 energy and auto begin your ride phase, energy charge 3, and act once per turn, energy boss 7, draw a card. On pretty solid, you get a free 3 energy every turn. On top of that, if you win second, you get an extra 3, and if there's ever a turn where you're not going to use the Vanguard's ability, which to be fair, you will always use the Vanguard's ability because it has crit pressure, but in case you didn't, you could energy boss 7 to draw a card to help increase your hand. Aron is a very solid card to have, and is obviously very necessary for us to use Triumph Dragon skills, so we obviously need it in the one as a ride deck. Moving on, we have our starter in Heated Blade R Dart. Grades will boost 5k shield, 6k base, auto roll upon if you second draw card, standard starter, nothing just but just a free draw if you go second. You're going to make this any starter you want, none of the ride line really requires R Dart, but I chose to make it R Dart because it is quote unquote Triumph Dragon's canonical starter since it came out in the same start deck as it, so it might as well. Moving on to our Overtrigger, we have Dragon Deity King of Resurgence Dragveda, who is very fun to sack with Triumph Dragon, mind you, because they're both dragons, and in my opinion, dragon deities with Triumph Dragon. They look kind of similar, and even though Triumph Dragon's ability is a once per turn, I feel like it's once per turn specifically because Bushi let Jiva and OG Nirvana not be once per turn with their on-attack abilities, and whoop-de-doo, when you sack Dragveda with them, it's pretty much lethal. Anyways, Grades will boost 50k shield, 5k power, Overtrigger, remove Overtrigger in your deck. Remove it as a trigger, move that card, draw a card, choose my moves, get a plus 1 minute for the turn, and if you vote it during a draw check, activate a dish effect, which you can choose one of your Vanguards and stand it. Armor pretty solid because it allows the Vanguard to attack twice. As I just stated, unfortunately, Triumph Dragon's ability to get extra critical and power is only a once per turn ability, so only one of those attacks is going to have at least the inherent extra critical on it. But hey, still double attacking with the Vanguard is great because that means you can still drive check more triggers with it, and allows you to be more aggressive with the Vanguard, so it's a nice one-up for me. You can run a Spoiler for recycling, or the Walnut for more multi-attack consistency, or you could also run the Yellow Overtrigger for rear guard killing and drawing, or even the Dark Overtrigger for healing and calling. But I choose Dragveda because, I just want to have the Vanguard stand for offensive pressure. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Flare-Veiled Dragon. Grades will boost 5k shield, 4k base, continues guard circle. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 regard, add 5,000 to the shield. So Flare-Veil would be a 10k shield and a draw trigger, so it helps increase the hand to hopefully draw into your opponent in pieces. And as the game progresses, that 10k shield could end up making the difference between the long run. You can turn this into the front trigger, so you can have a little bit more offensive pressure with your front row, but I feel like the deck already has enough of that, so I'd rather have Flare-Veil to help try to draw my pieces. Then we have a total of 8 crit, 4 of them being Rogue, Beast, Sunagosuri. Grades will boost 50k shield, 5k base. You can make this any crit you want. I chose to make it Sunagosuri because it came out in the same DZ set start deck that Triumph Dragon did, so therefore it's coming with Triumph Dragon. Followed by 4 copies of Burning Flow Dragon. Grades will boost 50k shield, 4k power, critical trigger, auto rear guard, and then by that it boosted, show the soul, choose unit, give it 2k for the turn, so it's a nice way to increase your unit power by 2,000 power, which most of the time won't make a difference, but you would be surprised, because every now and again there will be that one occasion where the 2k does make the difference. And again, it does go to soul, so it helps increase your soul count, and this deck, if you run into one very specific play line, you can run into a soul problem, so in case that play line does happen, because that play line involves you being aggressive, so you might end up running into it decently, but either way, 4 copies of Burning Flow just in case that does happen. But again, we like to have 8 crit for the offensive pressure, followed by 4 heal and Gentle Breeze, Dragon Dino Breeze. Grades will boost 50k shield, 5k base. You can make this any heal you want. I chose to make a Dino Breeze because just like the other cards, it came in the same DZ set start deck that Triumph Dragon came in, therefore I just run it with it anyways. Moving on to our normal units, we have 2 copies of Battle Monk of Thunderclap Zenshin. Grade 1, boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard, at the end of battle it boosted. If your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Triumph Dragon, retire this unit and put a grade 3 or greater card Triumph Dragon as card name from your soul or drop it at the bottom of your deck, and if you do, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and if you did not retire a card, you draw a card. Cool, it allows you to recycle your Triumph Dragons that you discarded for ride decking because you knew you could already draw one back thanks to the Vanguard skill to search a copy, and it allows you to kill off your opponent's rear guard at the same time. And if you don't kill off something, you get to draw a card. All around, Zenshin is a good grade 1. My only downside with him, and my only hate with him, is that this is the one DZ set start boss that I do not openly draw copies of the main grade 3. I draw copies of Servalso, I draw copies of Cristonios, I draw copies of Orso Larges, but I never draw copies of Triumph Dragon, so it's hard to get one into drop zone so I can then cycle it back and still have one for Persona writing for the following turn. Either way though, being able to possibly kill an opponent's rear guard is great, because again, it can pick one from soul or it can pick one from drop to bot deck, and if you don't get to kill something, you do get to replace it by drawing a card, so it's not a bad grade 1 to have in the deck, but you don't want to see too many many of it because, again, most of the time it doesn't go off, at least for me, so I like to have it at 2 copies. And we have 3 copies of is a card that I am very surprised I ran, and to be exact, I only ran it so I could do this deck profile, but then I actually started to enjoy playing this card, and that is Rousing Dragon Ready Raptor. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when put on guard circle. If your damage zone is just simply 4 or more cards in it, regardless of what your Vanguard's grade is, it gets 5,000 shield to the end of the battle. So if, God forbid this, but if your opponent rushed you to the point where you went to 4 damage, maybe because they sacked a bunch of crits, well, at least you're going to have a 10k shield here. But if your Vanguard's a Triumph Dragon that's a grade 3 or greater, you can counter boss 1 and give it plus 15k shield instead of 5k shield. Again, I say, originally, I did not imagine I'd be using this card, but after the first game with this deck, I realized how helpful that 15k shield was, because I always had 1 spare CB, and whoop-de-doo, that 15k shield came in really handy when it was keeping me alive, because that turned this thing into a 20k shield base. And again, simply put being at 4 or more damage automatically makes it a 10k shield. The downside is you have to be at 4 or more damage to even use the full effect in the first place. But again, it's a nice card to have when your back is against the wall and you need extra defense, whether it's early game defense or late game defense. So it's a solid 3 of, and honestly, he's already saved me from losing in 1 match, so I have to kind of put him in here at 3 of. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Construct Golem. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto drop zone. When you're grade 3 or greater Vanguard Triumph Dragon, the card name is placed during ride phase. If you do not have a copy of this on the rear guard, Soul Boss 1, call it to rear guard circle, and if you call it Energy Charge 1. So cool, combine that with your Energy Generator of Energy Charge 3. That means every turn you ride a Triumph Dragon, you will always have just enough energy to actually use Triumph Dragon's Energy Boss 4 skill, which is pretty solid. And then his ability is auto rear guard. It's about that he boosted a unit with Strafe command, aka the grade 3 support card for Triumph Dragon, and its card name. If you have not countercharged this turn, shove it to soul, countercharge 1. Cool. It gets you free soul that you can then soul blast out with maybe another strike command on your rear guard to gain 5k while it's battling, but it basically sets you up for that turn if you end up soul blasting out again, and it gets you a countercharge, so it allows you to get more resources back. All on Construct Golem is good. In my opinion, after playtesting all the promo grade ones, it's one of the worst ones just because unlike the other ones, it doesn't auto set up combos with other cards. The best it does is just, soul blast it out via the supporting grade 3 if you have a second copy of it on board, which all the other ones can do, but all the other ones also set up combos with other cards in the deck. So 4 copies of Construct Golem, it is kind of annoying that he doesn't inherently set up combos, but again, as long as you ride a Triumph Dragon and you don't have a copy of it on board, you automatically have enough to get Triumph Dragon's ability off the turn you ride it, and automatically can't counter just by boosting Strafe command, so it's a 4 of. That takes us over to 4 copies of Megabarb Dragon. It was a pain to find all of these grade 1s that have the exact same skill because most of their names change, and sometimes TCG player would pull them up and sometimes it wouldn't. The fandom needs to update their arts to English because god, it's annoying trying to find these things. Anyways, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard or guard circle. If you have a grade 3, get a Vanguard Triumph Dragon in the card name. This unit gets intercept, can intercept from back row, and it gets 5,000 shield. All pretty solid because once you hit the grade 3, it's a 10k interceptor for everyone on board. And if you choose to keep it in your hand because maybe your opponent's playing an intercept lockdown deck or they're playing a deck that just doesn't let you use this card, whether it's because of rear guard killing or something else, at least you'll have a 10k card in hand for defensives. And again, you can early rush with this card, and then the second you hit grade 3, you can immediately turn it into a 10k interceptor. So it's a nice grade 1 to have in this deck. I definitely like having it supported. I wish it had a little bit more of an aggressive ability, but hey, I'll take what I can get because it allows the deck to be a little bit more defensive. Which is weird that Triumph Dragon has a card that can turn itself into a 20k shield and no one else does. It's like Triumph Dragon is supposed to be the most defensive one of the group. Either way though, 4 copies of Megabarb Dragon. It's just a solid grade 1 to have. Moving on, we have 4 copies of our PG and Guardian Monk of Raging Flames Monju. Grade 1 boost, 0-0, 6k base, continuous sets on 4 Sentinels and deck on spin on guard circle, choose your units, and cannot be hit on the bottom of your hand, stream more cards in, choose a card from your hand and discard it. Standard PG, nothing too special about it, because that means if this is only one of the cards in your hand, place it on guard circle, you don't have to, this card is great, because that means be as aggressive as in the early game, spam the ever-living hell out of these 2, then maybe summon one of these, and then when your opponent does eventually counterattack you, throw down Monju, give him the middle finger, you're good to go. All around, it's a very solid PG to have. You can run Twin Buckler Dragon or Sparkle Ejector Dragon because they have the exact same skill as Monju, but I'd rather have Monju in this deck because it came out close to the time of Triumph Dragon release. I also heavily recommend you have a PG because it allows you to defend yourself when your opponent hits you with really big numbers. Unless you want to go all in on the aggro and then turn this into whatever the hell you want, in that case go for it, but otherwise I like having the PG here. Moving on, we have our last grade 1 in the deck, one of them in the red deck, none in the main deck, of Roaring Flame Beast Caloror. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when is rode upon by Roaring Thunder Beast Kitenraiz, Energy Blast 2, draw a card. Okay. I like how it's only Energy Blast 2 to draw, so it allows you to use part of the Energy Generator skill for a lot cheaper of a cost. My annoyance with this is if you don't use that skill, your grade 1 is essentially a vanilla, which means you don't get a draw. The reason why that's annoying is because, yes, while the energy generator combined with Construct Golem guarantees that you will always have Triumph Dragon's energy blast ability, what if you don't draw Construct Golem? I'll tell you what, that energy blast 2 is a domino effect if you do not draw Construct Golem. So take that as you will with the skill. It's a nice draw, do not get me wrong, but God, why do they have to make this card energy related? And then continues rear guard during turn if your Vanguard's a grade 3 guard of Triumph Dragon, it's 5,000 power. So cool, be a 13k base when your Vanguard's a Triumph Dragon. You will never be able to pull that off because this will never be able to be called to rear guard either from soul or from drop zone. So you can completely ignore that ability. Basically just focus on the fact that if you ride it, you have the choice to energy blast 2 to draw a card. The draw card is worth it in my opinion. Again, I say if you don't draw Construct Golem, that energy blast will end up setting up a domino effect that will end up making so you can't use Triumph Dragon's ability on your final turn. So keep track of that, but otherwise it's a 1 of the red deck, none in the main deck. That takes us over to our grade 2s, starting off with 2 copies of Drag Widow Fallhawk, a grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto when put on guard circle from hand or discarded from hand while riding from the ride deck, counter boss 1 or energy boss 3 in order to draw a card. Cool, so again, thanks to Caloror over here, you're not going to spend your energy, and you might not even spend your CB, but in case you have extra, either you can use it to draw a card while you're either guarding with it from hand so you can draw more defensive cards, or just straight up discarding it for ride deck to try to replace it, and then auto and place on rear guard circle if your persona this turn, counter boss 1 or energy boss 3 in order to choose a grade 1 card last sentinel from the drop zone called to back or rear guard circle. Okay, I lied. Technically speaking, there is a way to get Caloror on board, but the point is, you only use that ability is if it's like a final turn situation, because this card's skill is not going to proc when it's intercepting, so it has to specifically go on the board. If you're thinking of final turn moves, call it, get down any rear guard you want, whether it's your 10k interceptor or an extra construct golem or hell even Zenshin just to kill more rear guards, just to fully bully down your opponent. 2 copies of Fallhawk, he is useful because, again, his guard skill / discard fodder allows you to draw into more cards, which could end up helping you out. And his ability superior cost on the rear guard can just get you an 8k booster to help bully down your opponent, which is great. But, again, it is a little bit risky trying that, so it's a worthy 2 of because it does eat into both the energy and CB, which are resources this deck does want. That takes us over to 4 copies of Drag Widow Rashad. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, continues rear guard circle during your turn. If your Vanguards are grade 3 guard of Triumph Dragon, this unit gets 5,000 power for each of your opponent's rear guards retired this turn. Okay, I think Triumph Dragon is supposed to have more name-specific support that requires rearguard retiring, because if you check all of Triumph Dragon's support, none of them, except for Zenshin, actually kill rearguards, so the most this thing would get in a turn, if you got really lucky and you set it up perfectly, would be plus 15, technically plus 20, but specifically plus 15 before its battle, which makes me wonder why does none of Triumph Dragon's other support cards kill rearguards, but it is what it is. Either way, 5k every single time something dies, so that's pretty solid, especially if you run any generic cards like such, for example, Travis, who can counter boss 1 soul charge 1, kill something, got 10,000 power, and then continues rear guard circle. If your Vanguards are grade 3 guard Triumph Dragon, all your opponent's rear guards and comments, it cannot move to other guard circles or other rear guard circles, aka it prevents moving up intercepting of any likes, and it works on both players' turns. Honestly, that's a pretty good like offensive control ability, because again, it prevents your opponent from intercepting, so in case you can't kill their whole board, at least you're nullifying the interceptors in its column, and anything that's staying in the back row is staying in the back row and it's not moving otherwise, or if it's stuck in the front row and your opponent wants in the back row, well, too bad, stuck in the front row till this thing dies or until it loses ability. Again, this 5k power up, it's a nice addition, but in a deck where none of his actual support cards require retiring rear guards, it just feels weird, but whatever. That's why I'm hoping that we get upgrades to these, and Triumph Dragon's upgraded form can kill 2 rear guards at once to warrant Rashad's skill being related to retiring. So 4 copies of him. His ability to control the opponent's rear guard is nice, and again, he gets power every single time something dies, so if you want to build a super really random Triumph Dragon deck focused on killing rear guards, you can. So 4 of. That takes us over to 4 copies of Demonic Dragon Berserker Joksu. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto rear guard when this unit is placed on rear guard circle. If your Vanguards are grade 3 guard Triumph Dragon, yeet another rear guard soul to draw a card, energy charge 1. Cool! Triumph Dragon has more ways to get energy, and it replaces the card sends to soul via drawing a card. Just a really good skill, that's a plus. And then auto from a rear guard circle once per turn when any fighter's unit is retired or stood by the ability of your Vanguard Triumph Dragon in the card name. Soul boss 1 and all your front units get 5,000 power for the turn. Okay, again I say, I truly believe that we're gonna get upgrades on the sole virtues of none of the other DZ set start bosses have skills that relate to their respective promo Koro card extra ability that I had, whether it had extra drive or extra critical trigger. None of their supports end up helping them, or like they help them, but they don't have skills that specifically call out an ability they have. This specifically says standing, and Triumph Dragon does not stand. Only the Danger Grandpa did, so just saying, hope that we have a grade 4 that ends up standing, and or killing 2 rear guards at once. I'll take either or. But to be fair though, either way, it's a very solid skill because a simple soul boss one, which he does get you to give the front row 5k, it does end up setting up your soul for constructed golem, and it's, as long as it's retired by the Vanguard's ability or stood if you're playing the Danger Grandpa, it's still going to proc that ability off, and the best part is it literally gets its skill for free because it sends any rear guard to soul, and it gets you a free draw and energy charge on top of it. All around, Jokishu is a very great supporting grade 2. It's just missing that one final push to make this card really good, so honestly, 4 of, and when they do upgrade Triumph Dragon, it's gonna eat with this one. That takes us over to our last grade 2 in the deck, one of in the right deck, none in the main deck, of Roaring Thunder Beast Kitenraiz. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto when rolled upon by a grade 3 card of Triumph Dragon's carding. You may call this card to rear guard circle if you don't energy charge 3. I think what Bushy's idea was like you choose to energy blast 2 off of Kylor, and then if you think you're gonna need that energy, you then choose to keep Kitenraiz and Soul. But that sucks because you really want that 15k interceptor most of the time. So unless you're in the situation where you don't have Golem and you needed that draw from Kaloror, you're gonna call the Kitenraiz and just give up the 3 free energy because you're gonna want that 15k shield. But hey, on the bright side, if you choose to keep it in Soul, you're getting 3 free energy on top of it, pretty much guaranteeing you have Triumph Dragon's ability. So that's not too bad. As for its second ability, continues guard circle. If your Vanguards are grade 3, you're going to Triumph Dragon, add 10,000 to the shield. So you know it's going to be a 15k interceptor if the Vanguards are grade 3. Again, your only way to call this out would be calling it out from Soul the second you're on top of a Triumph Dragon. And again, sometimes you won't call it out to get the 3 free energy, but most of the times you do. You only get the 3 free energy, which I can't believe I'm saying this, only if you absolutely need it and there's nothing else. Like, unless this is your only way to get Triumph Dragon skill off. So, one copy of Kitenraiz is a nice card to have in the right deck because it can, again, call itself to have that 15k shield. And most of the times you will call it, but there are times where you're going to keep it in Soul just to keep that energy charge 3. Following that, we have 4 copies of our supporting grade 3 for Triumph Dragon and Strafe Command Dragon. Grade 3 to 10% on 13k base. I love how this deck went from what it was in DZ set 1, where I specifically had a way consistently to get the entire front row to double critical, to now it's just spam down one of these because that way was too inconsistent and then just try to prey on high numbers. Anyway, Strafe Command, grade 3 to 10% on 13k base. Auto when placed on rear guard circle from the hand if your Vanguard's a grade 3 guard on Triumph Dragon. Counter boss 1 draw a card. Okay, it eats into the CB a little bit only for a draw, but hey, you know what? Having 2 cards in the deck that get you draws aren't bad. Another thing I just want to point out with this thing, if you have an extra Triumph Dragon in hand and you have yet to search a copy for the Vanguard skill, you could just call Triumph Dragon, yeet it to Soul via this, and then suddenly this thing can proc its ability off while your opponent's at grade 2. Because the second ability is auto rear guard when when this unit attacks on anything, by soul blasting 1 until end of the battle, it gets 5,000 power, but if you soul blasted a grade 3 card Triumph Dragon in the card name, it gets an extra critical as well. So it'll be an 18k double crit, presumably boosted by a Construct Golem. So it's a 26k double crit against a possibly grade 2 Vanguard because, you know, this thing sent a Triumph Dragon from rear guard to soul. Honestly, solid grade 3. I do love how the grade 2 ends up setting this thing up so it can proc its skill off a little bit early, and I do like how it ends up increasing the hand card just a little bit more. I wish we had more ways to kill opponents' rear guards and or stand rear guards via effects, but we'll take what we get. Either way though, double crit and 18k swing for a battle isn't that bad at all, so 4 of. And without further ado, this brings us over to our last card. 3 in the main deck, 1 in the right deck of Roaring Thunder Dragon, Triumph Dragon. Grade 3 Twin Jet, Persona Right, 13k base, active Vanguard, once per turn, counter boss 1 to search deck for a copy of it, reveal it, put it to hand, shuffle the deck, and if you do, add 10,000 power. Doesn't matter if you add something or not, as long as you just pay the CB, you'll get a deck shuffle and the Vanguard will be a 23k base, so that's pretty solid for numbers. And then Auto Vanguard, oh, I thought this ability was once per turn. It's not. Never mind. Okay, Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks into a Vanguard, Energy Blast 4, Merc an opponent's rear guard, and this unit gets 5,000 power plus 1 crit for the battle. So if you have extra energy lying around after sacking the over, well, the Vanguard can swing for double critical twice in the same battle and force out your opponent's guard because they're going to take 2 damage regardless. All-around Triumph Dragon is amazing grade 3 because it does allow you to search out a copy of a Persona for only 1 CB, and while yes, this deck can be a little bit CB heavy, hey, that's why we have Construct Golem, but not to mention the fact that it'll make us up a 23k base, 33k base, or Persona right turns, and when it swings into, as long as it swings into the Vanguard, when you have 4 energy, Merc an opponent's rear guard, you got extra crit pressure. That means every single turn is swinging for at least 28k double critical, and it forces out your opponent to guard with a PG, because if they don't, automatically they risk the chance of you seeing the over and then doing that again. Not a bad grade 3. His skill is fine, and the issue with him is that his support doesn't help him. Like I said before, my original DG set 1 deck focused on getting the entire front row to double critical, which allowed the deck to have a lot of pressure, but that was specifically only on Persona right turns. Now we have rear guards that are focused on standing and retiring units, which is fine, but none of Triumph Dragon support cards actually retire units outside of specifically Zenshin over here, and even then you're rarely going to do that enough to where it's consistent. So Triumph Dragon, what it needs is like one really good card that either kills rear guards or a new Vanguard that can either stand units or retire units. Like, it doesn't have to do both in the same turn, it's just either or. But either way though, being able to kill a rear guard and get 5k into crits, at least has crit pressure constantly, is good. And I guess we're checking out a copy for Kitenraiz / PG fodder is nice as well. So 3 of the main deck, 1 of the right deck. And without further ado, that brings us to the official end of the DZ Set 7 deck profiles. I hope all of you enjoyed. This was a long journey and it taught me the meaning of patience, because I've had to have not upload daily videos, which literally killed me every single day that I had to do it. But we have made it this far, and that brings us to the end of these videos. So I hope all of you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us on Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Dark Side up, your Vanguards.